The whiskey in my glass had gone warm. I thought I knew my daughter too. I'm sitting in my study now, oak desk between me and the file my estate attorney just handed me. Margaret Chen, 40 years of practicing law. 20 of those managing my affairs doesn't get rattled easily. But her hands shook when she placed the folder down. Thomas, she said, using my first name instead of the usual Mr. Hartwell. That's how I knew. I need you to read this carefully. And I need you to stay calm. I've built 3 manufacturing plants from the ground up. I've negotiated with union leaders who wanted my head on a pike. I've buried a wife. Staying calm is what I do. But nothing prepares you for seeing your own daughter's signature on documents designed to erase you. Let me back up. 6 months ago, I made what I thought was the right decision. My daughter, Victoria Vicky, I'd called her since she could barely walk, had been working as CFO of Hartwell Industries for 8 years. Good at her job, too. Sharp with numbers, sharper with people. When our CEO retired, the board looked to me. I owned 60% of the company my father started in 1962. My vote mattered. I chose Vicky. The press loved it. Manufacturing dynasty passes to 3rd generation. Glass ceiling, shattered at Hartwell Industries. The board threw a celebration. Vicky cried when I handed her the gavel at her first meeting, told me she'd make me proud. She was making me proud, I thought. Revenue up 18% in her first quarter. 2 new contracts with automotive suppliers. She was on CNBC twice, talking about modernizing legacy manufacturing. Then Margaret called 3 days ago. Thomas, I need to see you. Not at the office. You're home, and don't mention this to anyone. That's when the cold feeling started. Margaret arrived at 7 in the evening, which was odd. She's a 9-to-5 person. Always has been. Walks into my house in Woodland Hills, the same house where Sarah and I raised Vicky, carrying a briefcase I've never seen her use before. Pour yourself something strong, she said. I poured 2 whiskeys. She drank hers in 1 swallow. Then she opened the briefcase. 6 weeks ago, Margaret began, I received a call from Judge Howard Chen. We went to law school together. He wanted to give me a heads up about something crossing his desk. She laid out the first document. Petition for conservatorship, Los Angeles County Superior Court. My name was on it, Thomas James Hartwell, age 67. Petitioner, Victoria Ann Hartwell. Grounds, diminished mental capacity due to progressive cognitive decline. I read it 3 times. The words didn't change. There's more, Margaret said. Medical evaluation from Dr. Raymond Foster, neurologist. Detailed assessment claiming I'd shown significant memory impairment, confusion regarding business matters, and inability to manage complex financial decisions. Recommended immediate conservatorship. I've never met Dr. Raymond Foster in my life. Margaret, let me finish. Her voice was steel. Judge Chen flagged this because something seemed off. The petition was filed under seal, which is normal for conservatorship cases. But it was fast-tracked. Someone pulled strings. He started digging. She laid out more papers, financial records, transfer authorizations, a new will dated 3 weeks ago, leaving everything to Victoria, with a clause stating, I'd requested this in a moment of clarity before my condition worsened. I haven't written a new will in 12 years. There's a pattern here, Thomas. 2 days after you announced Victoria as CEO, she transferred herself to your personal accounts as co-signer. Not unusual, you probably signed off on that for estate planning purposes. I had. Vicky said it would make things easier just in case. But then the withdrawals started. Small at first, 20,000 here, 30,000 there. Consulting fees paid to shell companies, bonuses to executives who don't exist. It adds up to $1.4 million over 5 months. My hand tightened around the glass. The conservatorship, Margaret continued, would give her complete control. Your assets, your company shares, everything. And this will, she tapped the forged document, would make it permanent when you die. How? The word came out rougher than I intended. How does she think she'll get away with this? The medical evaluation. Once Dr. Foster testifies that you're incompetent and the court appoints Victoria as conservator, it's done. She'll have legal authority to make all decisions. And if you contest it. Margaret's expression went dark. The very act of fighting the conservatorship becomes evidence of your impaired judgment. It's a trap, Thomas. A very well-constructed trap. I drank my whiskey. It burned going down, but didn't warm the cold spreading through my chest. There's something else, Margaret said quietly. Judge Chen's clerk did some checking. Victoria's been meeting with Lawrence Prescott. Lawrence Prescott, the corporate raider who'd been trying to buy Hartwell Industries for 3 years, offering 30 cents on the dollar because he knew we'd never sell. My father would roll over in his grave. She's going to sell the company, I said. It wasn't a question, Margaret nodded. The preliminary agreement is already drafted. Once she has conservatorship, she can authorize the sale as your representative. The company gets liquidated, assets stripped, 700 employees lose their jobs. Victoria walks away with approximately $42 million after Prescott's cut. 700 families, people I knew by name, Frank in quality control, whose daughter just got into Stanford, Rosa in accounting, who'd been with us since 1989, Jimmy in the machine shop, who'd worked alongside my father. All gone. So my daughter could cash out. What's the timeline? I asked. Hearing is scheduled for next Tuesday. 10 days from now. Dr. Foster's evaluation is already submitted. Victoria has a lawyer. Very expensive, very good. They're going to argue that you're a danger to yourself and the company, that immediate intervention is necessary. And if I show up coherent and healthy, they'll claim you're having a good day. That's the insidious thing about cognitive decline. It's inconsistent. They'll point to concerning decisions you've made recently. Give examples of erratic behavior. They've been building a narrative for months. I thought back. The board meeting where I'd questioned Victoria's decision to close the Cleveland plant, she'd called me confused about the numbers. The family dinner where I'd forgotten my nephew's wife's name, Vicky had exchanged a concerned look with her husband. The time I disagreed with a new supplier contract, she'd told people I was having trouble with details lately. She'd been laying groundwork. Can we fight this? I asked. Margaret was quiet for a long moment. Honestly, it'll be ugly. Expensive. Public. Your medical records will be subpoenaed. Your competency will be questioned in court and in the press. Best case scenario, we win after months of litigation. Your reputation is damaged. The company's reputation is damaged. And Victoria, as CEO, has probably already poisoned the well with the board. Worst case, you lose. She gets everything, and there's nothing you can do about it. I stood up, walked to the window. The backyard was dark, but I could see the outline of the swing set I'd built when Vicky was 4. Sarah had held the level while I secured the posts. Vicky had used that swing set until she was 12, too old for it but unable to let go of something her dad had made. When did my daughter become this person? What would you do? I asked Margaret. If you were me? She finished her second whiskey. I'd get angry, and I'd get smart. I turned to face her. Tell me what we need. Proof that you're mentally sound. Independent medical evaluation, cognitive testing, the works. Proof that the withdrawals were unauthorized. And we need to know exactly how deep this goes, who else is involved, how many documents are forged, what the full scope of the fraud is. How do we get that? Margaret's smile was sharp. We investigate. Quietly. She doesn't know that we know. That's our advantage. That was 3 days ago. Since then, I've been playing a part. The declining old man. Forgetful, confused, tired. It's surprisingly easy to convince people who want to believe it. Yesterday, Victoria came to the house for lunch. She does this every Thursday. Has for years. Usually, we talk about the company, about business. This time, I played my role. Vicky, I said, fumbling with my phone, I can't seem to. This thing keeps changing. She took it from me gently. Dad, you just need to update the software. Here, let me. I don't understand all these updates, I said, making my voice querulous. Back in my day, a phone was a phone. I know, Dad. Her voice was patient. Loving, even. Technology moves fast. It's okay to need help. She stayed for 2 hours. Told me about new company initiatives I probably wouldn't understand. Asked if I'd been taking my medications. Mentioned casually, that she'd found a wonderful assisted living facility that we should tour together. Just to look, she said. For the future. They have a great memory care unit. I played confused. Assisted living? Why would I? Dad. She took my hand. We need to talk about this. You're not getting younger. Things are getting harder for you. I can see it. She was so convincing. If I didn't know better, I'd believe she was actually concerned. After she left, I threw up in the kitchen sink. But I had what I needed. While she was helping with my phone, while she was being the dutiful, concerned daughter, I had a recording device in my pocket. Because Margaret had advised me to document everything. And Vicky had said something interesting. The hearing is all set for Tuesday. Dr. Foster will explain everything to the judge. It'll be quick, I promise. And then we can make sure you're taken care of properly. She knew about the hearing. Of course, she knew she'd filed the petition, but she'd just confirmed it. On tape, admitting she'd arranged it. That was yesterday. Today, I did something I've been dreading. I went to the Hartwell Industries offices, not announced, which itself raised eyebrows. The CEO's father, the majority shareholder, doesn't usually need an appointment. But Victoria's assistant, a sharp woman named Amanda, who'd been with the company for 6 months, looked genuinely alarmed when I stepped off the elevator. Mr. Hartwell, we weren't expecting. Does Victoria know you're here? It's my company, I said mildly. I thought I'd visit. Amanda picked up her phone immediately, calling Vicky, no doubt, warning her. I walked past her into the executive suite. These offices used to be mine. Corner view of downtown LA, glass and steel, and the smell of success. I'd given them to Victoria when she became CEO. Seemed right at the time. Now they felt foreign. I found what I was looking for in the conference room. Victoria was in a meeting, but not a business meeting. 3 people sat around the table. Lawrence Prescott, wearing his signature expensive suit and predator smile, a lawyer I recognized from the firm handling the conservatorship, and Dr. Raymond Foster himself. They all looked up when I walked in. Dad. Victoria stood quickly. Too quickly. What are you doing here? I work here, I said. Remember? You should have called first. We're in the middle of... Oh, I know what you're in the middle of. I looked at Prescott. Lawrence. Still trying to buy my company, I see. Prescott had the grace to look uncomfortable. Thomas, this is just a preliminary discussion. About liquidating Hartwell Industries after my daughter has me declared incompetent? I turned to Dr. Foster. Doctor, I'm looking forward to our evaluation. Oh, wait, we've never met, have we? Yet you've written a detailed report about my cognitive decline. The room went silent. Victoria's face had gone white. Dad, you're confused. Stop. The word came out harder than I intended. Stop lying to me, Victoria. I know about the conservatorship petition. I know about the forged medical evaluation. I know about the $1.4 million you've stolen. And I know about your deal with Prescott. The lawyer stood up. Mr. Hartwell, I advise you not to. I don't care what you advise. I pulled out a folder, a mirror of the one Margaret had shown me. This is a cease and desist from my attorney. The conservatorship hearing is being contested. Dr. Foster, you'll be reported to the medical board for filing a fraudulent evaluation. And Victoria, I looked at my daughter, you're fired. Effective immediately. Security will escort you from the building. You can't do that, Victoria said. Her voice shook, but with anger, not fear. I'm the CEO. The board appointed me. I'm the majority shareholder. I can absolutely do that. The board will meet tomorrow to ratify my decision. I've already spoken to them. That wasn't entirely true. I'd spoken to 3 of the 7 board members, but they were the 3 who mattered. They'd been uncomfortable with some of Victoria's recent decisions anyway. This just gave them cover. This is insane, Victoria said. Dad, you're not thinking clearly. This is exactly what we've been worried about. You're paranoid. You're making accusations. Your account records are being subpoenaed as we speak, I said. Every withdrawal, every transfer, every shell company you created. The DA is very interested in elder financial abuse. It's a felony in California, in case you weren't aware. Dr. Foster had gone pale. I was just providing a professional opinion, based on an examination that never happened. That's fraud, doctor. And conspiracy to commit fraud. I'm sure the medical board will have questions about your relationship with Miss Hartwell and Mr. Prescott. Prescott stood. Thomas, let's not be hasty. I'm sure we can work something out. Get out of my building, I said. All of you. What happened next is something I'll remember for the rest of my life. Victoria didn't leave. She stood there, and something in her face changed. The concerned daughter mask fell away, and what was underneath was cold, calculated. You self-righteous old fool, she said quietly. Do you know how long I've waited? How many years I've watched you hold on to this company like it's some sacred trust? It's just a business, Dad. It's worth money. That's all it is. It's people's livelihoods, I said. It's a dinosaur. Manufacturing in California? We can't compete with Mexico, with China. Prescott's offer is generous. We liquidate the assets. We walk away clean. Everyone profits. Except the 700 people who lose their jobs. She waved her hand dismissively. They'll find other jobs. That's not my problem. My problem is you, refusing to see reality, refusing to let go, still running this company like it's 1985. So you decided to have me declared incompetent. I decided to do what needed to be done. You were never going to retire, never going to sell. You'd run this place into the ground before you'd admit the world has changed. She stepped closer. The conservatorship was a kindness, actually. You'd be taken care of, comfortable, and the company could finally move into the future. By being destroyed, by being monetized. That's what assets are for, Dad. You just never understood that. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her, and didn't recognize what I saw. When did you stop caring? I asked. About the company? About the people? About anything? Except money? She laughed. It was an ugly sound. I never cared. Did you really think I wanted to work here? I have an MBA from Wharton. I could have gone anywhere. But no, I had to be part of the great Hartwell legacy. Had to carry on the family tradition. Do you know how many times I listened to you and Grandpa talk about responsibility to our workers? Like we owed them something just because they showed up and did the job we paid them for? They built this company. You built this company. Grandpa built it. I just had the last name. And I'm done pretending that means I have to go down with the ship. She picked up her bag. You can fire me if you want. You can fight the conservatorship. You'll lose, Doctor. Foster's evaluation is solid, and we have documented examples of your declining capacity going back months. But even if you win, you've lost. Because everyone now knows you're unstable. The board will force you out. The company's value will tank. And I'll still get my inheritance when you die. She walked to the door, then turned back. You should have just let it happen, Dad. Would have been easier for everyone. Then she was gone. I stood in that conference room for a long time after. Prescott and the lawyer had slipped out during Victoria's speech. Dr. Foster looked like he wanted to say something, but thought better of it, and left too. I was alone with the view of downtown LA and the ruins of my family. But here's the thing about ruins. Sometimes you can build something new from them. I called Margaret from the conference room. It's done, I said. She confessed. I have it recorded. All of it? Every word. The fraud. The conspiracy. The whole plan. Margaret was silent for a moment. How do you want to proceed? That was the question, wasn't it? I could press charges. Elder abuse, fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. Victoria would likely go to prison. The scandal would destroy what was left of the family name. The company would survive, but damaged. Or I could let it go, fire her, disinherit her, but not involve the DA. Keep it private. Ugly, but contained. Margaret, I said, what would cause the least damage to Hartwell Industries? Thomas, this isn't about the company. Yes, it is. It's always been about the company. That's what Victoria never understood. It's not about the money. It's about the 700 people who depend on us. On me. Margaret sighed. Criminal charges would mean publicity, investigation. The company would be connected to fraud. Stock would drop if you were public. Best case for the company? You handle this privately. Fire her. Recover what money you can. Move on. That's what I thought. But Thomas, She tried to steal everything from you. She was going to have you locked up, declared incompetent, erased. You're just going to let her walk away? I thought about that. Thought about Sarah, who died 8 years ago from breast cancer. She'd made me promise to take care of Vicky, to always be there for our daughter. But she'd also made me promise to take care of the company, to honor my father's legacy, to protect the people who'd built Hartwell Industries alongside us. She doesn't get to walk away, I said. But she doesn't get to take the company down with her, either. Here's what happened next. I called an emergency board meeting for the following morning, presented the evidence, the unauthorized transfers, the conservatorship scheme, all of it. The board voted unanimously to terminate Victoria as CEO and remove her from the company entirely. Her stock options were revoked. Her access to all accounts was cut off. I reached out to 3 board members I trusted and offered to step back into a more active role, not as CEO, but as executive chairman. We promoted James Morrison, our COO, to CEO. He'd been with the company 30 years, knew the business inside and out, and had no interest in liquidating anything. I had my attorneys contact Dr. Foster's employer and the medical board. The conservatorship petition was withdrawn by Victoria's own attorneys, once they realized they'd been used in a fraud scheme. Dr. Foster lost his medical license 6 months later. Lawrence Prescott tried to sue for breach of contract, claiming we'd negotiated in bad faith. Margaret buried him in countersuits until he gave up. And Victoria? I had Margaret contact her with a simple message. You have 72 hours to return every dollar you took. In exchange, I won't press criminal charges. You'll sign away all claims to inheritance, to the company, to any Hartwell assets, and you'll never contact me again. She took the deal. I don't know if it was the threat of prison or just the realization that she'd lost. The money came back, most of it, anyway. Some had been spent, and I decided I'd rather have closure than chase every dollar. I changed my will. Everything goes to a trust that will support the company and its employees. College scholarships for workers' children, healthcare benefits for retirees, a fund to help with emergencies. The Hartwell name will mean something even after I'm gone, but it won't make anyone rich. That was 8 months ago. I still run Hartwell Industries, in a way. Executive chairman means I come in 3 days a week, sit in on major decisions, but mostly let James run the show. He's good at it. Better than I expected. The company is doing fine. Revenue is up, morale is better without Victoria's cost-cutting plans, and we just signed a new contract with Tesla for some precision components. Turns out manufacturing in California isn't dead after all. I sold the house in Woodland Hills. Too many memories, and too much space for one old man. I bought a condo downtown, near the office. Small, but the view is good. People ask me sometimes if I regret it, if I wish I'd handled things differently. The truth? I regret that it happened at all. I regret that my daughter became the kind of person who could look her father in the eye and see only a balance sheet. I regret that Sarah isn't here to see what our baby girl became, and I'm grateful that she isn't, all at once. But I don't regret protecting the company. I don't regret choosing 700 families over one. Victoria tried to contact me once, about 6 months ago, an email through her lawyer, asking if we could talk, saying she'd made mistakes but was still my daughter, saying she deserved forgiveness. I didn't respond, because here's what I learned. Family isn't just blood. It's loyalty, it's trust. It's caring about something bigger than yourself. The people at Hartwell Industries, the ones who show up every day, who take pride in their work, who build things that matter, they're more family to me than my own daughter ever was. That probably makes me cold, maybe cruel. But when I walk through the plant floor and Frank asks about his daughter's first semester at Stanford, when Rosa brings me her famous tamales for Christmas, when Jimmy shows me a new efficiency improvement he's designed that feels like family. That feels like what my father built this company for. I'm 67 years old. I'll probably work until I can't anymore. And when I'm gone, the company will continue. Not because of the Hartwell name, but because of the people who make it run. Victoria gets to live with what she tried to do. That's punishment enough. And me? I get to sit at my desk, looking at those 3 manufacturing plants my father started, and I expanded, knowing they'll outlast us all. The whiskey in my glass has gone cold now, but I pour a fresh one anyway. To family, the one you choose.